We are back with Mr. Annan Boodram. I apologize for that. Internet just went chaotic. Anyway, Annan, you were telling you're started to tell us about the genesis of this whole effort to establish a suicide, not suicide, a sex offender. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I talked about how we realized that suicide couldn't be done in isolation. We had to focus on all the other factors, of which rape and incest were two significant factors. And then among the various partners we've been working with in Guyana, there are a number of organizations that are also focusing on these issues. So they became part of the meat and bones of what we were doing. And one of our partners, in fact, Monique's Helping Hands, headed by Dr. Don Stewart, who is also one of our board members, she and I had discussed this idea of a registry. Around the same time, I got an email about a petition for a registry, a similar registry that was launched by some St. Lucians.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Zandoli Foundation is the name of the organization. And the young lady spearheading that effort is a young lady by the name of Camille.
Camille?
Yes. So when I signed their petition, I think somehow we got connected. I think she might have initiated the connection. We started talking about this, and then I informed her that we had been talking about doing the same thing for Guyana. She's a very enthusiastic young woman, and apparently, even though she had started the process for St. Lucia, she felt that it was necessary to do it throughout the Caribbean. And so when we decided we were going to launch ours, we thought that was a good idea also. And the argument is that there is free travel in the Caribbean. You don't need visa to travel from nation to nation.
Uh-huh.
So if these sex offenders, at least some of them, find it hot and uncomfortable in one island or one nation, you can easily move to another one to ply their trade. So that is why you need to have this throughout the Caribbean as a first step towards other steps that can be taken. In fact, Camille and her organization have a 5-point program that is pretty interesting. So we launched ours today, about 5 hours ago, and we already have 25 supporters, which I think is a great start.
Mm-hmm.
And Camille and I are working towards getting other islands involved. She already has touched base with Jamaica and a few others. And we're also looking at the possibility of getting this on the agenda, the next CARICOM Heads of Government conference, because if it goes there, then that can facilitate a Caribbean-wide registry as well.
How can people who are interested participate, Annan?
Well, at this initial stage, they can sign the registries for both St. Lucia and Guyana, which are both online.
Where?
If you search, you would find them. And if they have ideas, they can share with Camille or myself, if they have expertise that they can bring to the table, we welcome those expertise because, these are not campaigns that can be implemented as successfully as they ought to be by a few people.
Right. Try not to twist too much, Annan.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
yes. Someone just texted me and asked about the address. Where can they find the registry?
If they look for my name on Facebook, they will find it on my page. They will find a link to it on my page.
Okay. What matters to you most about this initiative?
Well, I've had a very interesting conversation with Norca, whom I told you about yesterday, who's been working in this field for 20 plus years. And I learned a lot about the personality makeup of sex offenders.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it is designated a mental illness, but unlike some others, there is no known quote unquote cure for it. So for us, if a registry is established, if the general public is aware of who these people are, regardless of what community they go into, people would be on high alert. They would take steps to protect the vulnerable, that is the children, the young people, and the women, and therefore a relatively higher degree of safety um, is put in place. There's not 100% protection against anything, but at least you know that with this awareness that can lead to measures that communities would take and that the public would take to ensure the safety of the vulnerable.
Why are you so hopeful? What have you seen so far?
Well, my hopefulness stems from the fact that I'm an eternal optimist.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
And in the context of what we're doing in Guyana, if we succeed, then all the various components would, of course, have achieved some level of success.
Is there a timeline, or is that unreasonable to expect?
For the registry?
Yes.
Well, at this point, we're focusing on getting the amount of signatures. And again, this might be optimistic, but we've set a target of 100,000.
100,000.
Right. And meanwhile, Guyana has national elections in May, so we're going to wait until the new government, whether it's the same one or an incumbent government, gets set. And that should give us enough time to get very close to the 100,000. At that point, those signatures will be delivered to the president, and then we take it from there.
In the chat room, Zandoli International Foundation.
That's the foundation.
That's the foundation. The address is www.zandoli.org. Annan, you are a family man.
Yes, I am.
You're a family man and a son and a wife. How does your wife affect your fight against the suicide epidemic and your effort to establish this registry?
She's been very supportive of everything I do.
And I guess that is very important in the scheme of everything.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But let me ask you this. I mean, we had a little break, so I would go over an extra 5 minutes or so on. But how do you balance all the demands of teaching, journalism, social activism with family, leisure, and friends? How do you balance all of that?
I don't know if it's balanced the way it should, but I think there is enough juggling for all of it to get my time, to get my focus. I leave my home. It's from home to work and back, except if I have an interview to do or maybe a workshop to attend, something that is related to what I do. And when I do leave home, I put in like as many different things as can possibly be done in a day. So I'm home, and once you're home, while you're working on all these other things, the family is there. So, I can go into the room and spend some time with my son. He has an issue he wants to come discuss with us. The wife is right there, so we chat, we talk about things. So it kind of works out,
Yeah. For young people that are listening and looking for some kind of guidance or so on, how do you, what keeps you going with all these different pieces of things that you have to do? How do you, what encourages you?
First of all, the commitment has to be there. And I've been around the block, as we say over here. I tell people that I've packed into one lifetime a number of lifetimes that would approximate a number of lifetimes to most other people. So I am not easily discouraged. As I said, I'm an eternal optimist. I understand that there are going to be challenges. in this campaign has right now about 40 people from throughout North America, England, the Caribbean, and Guyana. We have a diaspora group and we have one in Guyana. We've got 5 or 6 counselors involved with us. We have people who are doing their doctorate and are looking to do research on suicide. In fact, I just received a research that was done by a master's student. We've got educators, we've got people from every walk of life. So people bring different skills and different experiences. So that's the other thing that keeps me going, the fact that you have so many people who are willing to be a part of the process and to lend whatever they can. And I'm going to say this, I need to say this, Norca Carter, whom I said started out this with me.
And before you say that, could you just adjust your screen a little? It's cutting off the top of your head. Just a little.
Actually,
right,
that
awesome.
would be a good thing because the glare is not going to blind anybody.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Norca has been our rock. I mean, she and I made a pact when we started this thing that we're not going to give up on each other or on the process. And that we understand that sometimes it's going to be tumultuous, sometimes the challenges might seem overwhelming. That has been the but when I am down, she keeps me up, and when she's down, I try to keep her up. So together we've kind of form a bond that makes sure that we ensure that we're there, and then everybody else coalesces around us. We've become sort of like a family, actually.
What are some challenges you have faced so far?
Well, one huge challenge has been the preponderance of misinformation about suicide.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing the views that people have out there that are totally outrageous and have nothing to do with the realities of suicide. That has been a huge challenge. Another challenge has been accessing resources. We all volunteers, we all work 5 to 9. There is a view in Guyana that once you come from overseas, you're rolling in money.
Mm-hmm.
And because we've been able to access the media to the extent that we have, and because we've been able to partner with other organizations, we have earned visibility in Guyana. And the visibility, plus the fact that we're an overseas organization, gives people the impression that we have a lot of money. So people are telling us, asking us, what are you doing? And then they come up with a long laundry list of things that we ought to do, which would be great if we had the resources to be able to do those things. Thank God that we have enough support out there to keep us going on a day-to-day basis with the plans that we have and that we are implementing. And I want to talk about one of those plans since
Go ahead, Annan.
We are coordinating in collaboration with a number of other organizations, a national anti-violence candlelight vigil on March 27th in Guyana. It's themed Voices Against Violence.
What time?
What time? A vigil is usually when it begins to get dark, so I would assume that it's around 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Let me explain what I mean by that. It's not just one vigil. Our hope is to have people in every community come together and do their own vigil. We are planning one major one in Georgetown, but we're expecting, we already have some of that in place, that communities in Berbice, communities in the interior, communities throughout the Marara, throughout Essequibo, are going to come together as communities and organize their own vigil, all on the same afternoon, so that it has the effect and the impact that we're looking for.
Mm-hmm. What is the message you're hoping to send out of this, and to who?
The message is that violence can no longer be accepted. And let me explain. Suicide is violence. It's violence against the self. Domestic violence is violence against somebody else. Alcoholism is violence against the self. Rape is violence against somebody else. Incest is violence against somebody else. So when we talk about violence, we're not talking about only about physical violence in the traditional sense. We're not talking only about violent, criminal violence. We're not talking only about road accidents, and that is a huge problem in Guyana too right now. We're talking about all these issues that we've been focusing on as well. So the message is that violence can no longer be accepted. As a first step to understanding about these issues, educating the population about these issues, and then arming them with the strategies and the skills to be able to to begin the process of redressing.
When are you most happy, Annan?
When I sit at my computer around 11, 12 o'clock in the night and I listen to bhajans, which are Hindu devotional songs.
Mm. What is gratifying about being Annan Boodram?
That I have been able to make a difference along the way, and that the rest of my life is planned that way as well.
If this, or when, I'm an internal optimist myself, this registry is successful, what would that mean to you personally? And what do you think it will mean to the country?
Well, personally, it would give me a sense of satisfaction. That it's one more thing that me and my team and all those people and organizations collaborating with us have been able to be successful. But greater than that is the reality that in the process we are making communities safer and helping to protect the most vulnerable.
Who or what inspires you these days?
My son.
Uh-huh.
He's the future. He's in a sense my bequest, if you wish, to the world. And everything I do is focused on making his reality better than mine was. So that's a huge inspiration. Of course, my parents, my wife, and my God.
And then if you were to eavesdrop your parents telling a stranger about their son, what do you think either of them would say about you? Well,
unfortunately, my dad is no more, but I don't have to eavesdrop my mom because I usually get the feedback.
What would she say about you?
Well, she's proud. She tells people she's proud. I mean, like most mothers, she boasts, probably with a little bit of exaggeration sometimes. Experience would do. But,
of course.
She's proud of the fact of what I'm doing and who I am. And of course, proud of the fact that I've been at least halfway there responsible for shaping me into who I am. You know?
And what are you most proud of?
Again, my son.
Your son. And what are you most thankful for?
My son.
Your son. Wonderful young man. Finish this sentence, Annan. I look forward to Sunday evenings too.
Sunday evenings, I don't have a routine.
Okay.
So that I look forward to accomplishing whatever needs to be accomplished.
If you could go back in time, what would you tell the 16-year-old Annan?
Son of a gun, you messed up too much, man.
I'm sorry. Excuse me, say that one more time, please.
You hurt me. I would have said, man, you made too many mistakes.
And what's next for you? With a full plate, it might be an unfair question, but what's next for you?
What's next for me, hopefully, is to get my first book published. It's already at the publisher, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it would come out this year because I have about 3 or 4 others in the work waiting.
Awesome. Someone in the chat room, viewer, said, is there a Zandoli site directly relevant to Guyana?
Not as yet, but they can go to our Facebook page, the Facebook Epidemic. That's what it's called.
Yes.
And all the information they need about us is there.
Awesome. And my last question, Anand. Well, before I ask you my last question, is there anything specific you would like to say to our audience about this?
Yes,
registry?
I would like to say that we know that everybody can be activists. We know that people have different causes that they support, but something like suicide prevention and all that is related to it deserves a second look. Take a look at what we're doing, and in whatever way you can, give us some support. because the more support we get, the more we can achieve. And at the end of the day, what we're able to achieve will translate into saving lives and making communities safer.
Awesome. Zandoli said it, uh, it it will be up in 10 minutes, and of course the viewer said thank you. And what makes you laugh out loud?
I love humor.
What?
Humor,
Hmm.
I love wit, and anytime I'm reading or viewing something that is funny, I simply laugh. Sometimes my son would come out of the bedroom and look at me quizzically and wonder whether I'm going half crazy.
Well, Annan, look, I must thank you for joining us this evening. I hope you got enough of your message out. Thank you for your patience and your tolerance. We had some technical challenges. We could have called off the show, but I was determined that you get an opportunity to speak about what it is you're doing. I think that is important. So
And
I'm glad I was able to play a role.
I'm very thankful that you did. I mean, I love your determination, because at what point I think I was even trying to encourage you to call it off.
Yes, I remember that.
So, thank you for persisting. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. We hope that we've let people know, give people enough information to understand who we are and what we're doing. And we hope that in some ways, some people are going to join us at whatever level, give their support, and help us to achieve the things we want to achieve.
And on one other thing, I give you permission to. You can go back when you get a chance to the chat room of CWS, and you can post that Facebook link, because people invariably go there to check, the conversation and so on.
I will do that this evening before I go.
All right, my brother. So, good night, and God bless, man.
Thank you. Same to you, sir.
All right. Take care.